Josh. Today we're going to talk about the Fab Four,
Mm,
and we're going to talk about side two, track two, You Never Give Me Your Damn Money.
I
And
think this song could have a lot of potential applications. But what
oh
did the
God,
what the hell were the Beatles singing about? Like, what was going on with them? The ground was shifting under them. Like shit was going down. Like there were problems. There were problems, and they made this thing, this amazing thing.
oh yeah,
Right? What was up with them?
this is the end of the Beatles. This isn't problems. This is the end.
The end. Did they know it
Yeah,
was the end when they were recording?
they had a clue that it was the end because they all hated Paul. He was always the perfectionist and the one that kind of pushed them and pushed their buttons.
So I think this one has a ton of layers, ton of agency layers. I think, and I didn't even think about the title, You Never Give Me My Money, which is probably most of the calls we get from our clients. It's like, this client won't pay me.
The first lyric, it says, "You never give me your money, you only give me your funny paper."
Mm-hmm,
And in the middle of negotiations, oh my
mm-hmm.
God, you break down. The funny paper is referring to the Beatles collectively trying to get paid and their Apple Records being like, we don't know where the money is. You just keep doing you. And here's, what the explanation of where your money is right now. But you keep being you and don't worry about this. Just
Right, because they had contracts saying you'll get this, but at the end of the day, they're like,
it was
that's just, those are funny papers. Like, there's no actual dough there, right?
there's no actual, yeah, where's the money? Show me the money,
This is a
right?
recurring theme. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so this is literally a song about being frustrated that you're not getting what you wanted to negotiate for, or just being frustrated that there's all this bullshit in the way of you getting what you want. So what I guess they needed a better lawyer because like
Right.
yeah, you shouldn't be writing a song to try to get your money, but like it's just a great song about not getting what you're wanting.
Well,
um
and I think, it makes me think of agencies that you start out all principled, like you're going to negotiate this big contract for, building a big website or whatever for your client. And the lawyers get involved and you're marking it up and it's going back and forth. And the agency calls me up and says, I don't care anymore. Just like sign it, whatever. And there's still like a bunch of problems in it. You just sort of contract negotiation on its own gets
mhm.
exhausting. Um, and I think there's some of that in this song about breaking down and like they could keep fighting, but they're just like, fuck, whatever. It's exhausting. And I get
So
that.
how do
You give
you
up.
avoid that? How do you avoid the back and forth? Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, so I think having a plan, self promotion, having a lawyer that knows the digital space and can like be tactical in how you tackle these things, like not boiling the ocean, being very specific. Here are the things we
Mhm.
want, talking about the business reasons behind what you want, and being able to, like, it's okay to give up, but just know what you're giving up. Like, so someone needs to be able to tell you, ask your lawyer, right? Ask your lawyer, like, if I just throw up my hands and sign this thing, what am I giving up?
Mhm.
And then you at least know, and you're not just closing your eyes and signing it. You're signing it. It's like, I know what I'm getting myself into and I'm okay with that. Or maybe understanding gives you the energy to not have to
Mhm.
put up with that type of stuff.
What I was looking at in the lyrics, I was seeing the difference between, in the first little set of lyrics, then you go to I never give you my number, I only give you my situation. And in the middle of investigation, I break down. So like the difference between them, the company breaking down, not knowing what to give the Beatles, and then the Beatles are like, we're breaking down because we don't know. This really talks about how when you don't have clear expectation, especially with something as big as a contract, there's no win nobody's winning because you're not offering your best and they're
Mm,
not treating you well. So it's really in both of your best interests to have a clear expectation and communication.
for sure. I think that's right. And, you know, every agency will tell you the story. You know, the client says, I want X. And the agency says, well, what's your budget? And the client is afraid to say what their budget is. They feel like they're negotiating against themselves. But
Mhm.
like, I need a website. It's like, well, I can do you a Wix website for $99 in 20 minutes, or like I can spend millions. Like, what's your
Mhm.
budget? Like, you need to
Yeah.
tell me your budget. So I feel like
Yes.
there's a little bit of say what you mean, like put it on the table. I'm not a big one with agency negotiations or negotiations in life of hiding the ball. Like, you know, people talk about horse trading or like when you're buying a car, one person's up high and one person's low, and then you go back and forth and meet in the middle. I'm just like, say what you want and then say why you want it and stick to it,
Mhm.
and be principled about say what you want, and be have your ears open, like listen if someone makes an argument that's persuasive. But just like I want more, I want less, I want more, I want less, that's not principled. But if you say, here's what I want and here's why, here's the business reasons why, I think that's a better way to do
Mhm.
it. It's weird to think that the Beatles, like that you can be the most successful band of all time and still have contract problems. Like,
Hell yeah.
I don't know how to
Right?
fix that, man. I don't know how to fix that. So
Yeah.
what do you think they were talking about later in the song? Um it says, oh, that magic feeling, nowhere to go, nowhere to go. Like, there's almost a resigned aspect to these lyrics.
Yeah, well, like you just said, when you sign something which you don't really understand or you don't agree with fully, but you're just tired of the back and forth, then that's you have nowhere to go. You're just
Yeah.
working day to day and your frustration, you kind of have to figure it out because you agree to it at this point. So,
I was wondering if this could also be a reflection, like if they knew that this was getting to be the end of the Beatles, like they, success breeds problems and they have their problems and maybe they tried to work on them, but they weren't seeing a
mhm,
way out and they had nowhere to go. It makes me think of agencies with multiple owners, like, when everybody gets together, you're excited and you're like, oh, we're going to build this thing and we're going to make a bunch of money and it's going to be great.
mhm,
Um, and maybe you go on to have a lot of success, but maybe you have bumps in the road. But it shows you that whether it's huge success or bumps or litigation, like there's a whole bunch of things that can tear you apart. Even huge success can tear you apart. And talking about those things at the beginning of a relationship, at the beginning of a
mhm.
partnership in an agency, right? That's the way that you can prevent, or maybe prevent,
Maybe
or
prevent,
at
yeah.
least have an exit plan for when those things happen. I guess lots of people, let's make a partnership, but they don't talk about, it's like a marriage, right?
Mhm.
You got to talk about what you want out of the marriage, where we're going to go, and what are we going to do when the shit hits the fan or we have problems. Like, how are we going to solve those problems? I think those are, I don't know,
Exactly.
maybe they talked about it, maybe they could. I mean, they were kids, they were young,
Yeah, they were,
and they were
which is
making music, and they didn't want to talk about that business stuff,
well,
the
yeah, they
business stuff.
probably just, like if I was that famous, I would want somebody to just take that care of that for me. But we're not like that. We're not like the Beatles, so
That's me. Not yet.
not yet, damn it.
Not
I
yet.
keep telling my family that.